Hello, I'm Nathalie Dupree here for postandcourier.com. And what better thing to make to celebrate Bastille Day than crepes? They are sold everywhere in France, on the streets, in restaurants which only specialize in crepes. As a hors d'oeuvre, as a last course, they are all-purpose. All sorts of recipes exist for crepes. Mine is 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, 1 egg, and 1 egg yolk. And you really should always let a batter like that go overnight and let it rest. To have really light crepes, you thin out your batter, which is getting there, with a little bit of water, just depending on how thin you want your batter. You can add salt or sugar or cocoa or whatever you'd like to your batter. But I'm doing an all-purpose batter today because it's so flexible. I make them ahead and I freeze them. So first thing that you want to do is to test your crepe pan. Now this is a traditional crepe pan, and you can use any kind of non-stick pan you want to. You can use a big non-stick or a little one. You have to be a little careful because the non-stick ones will get a little crispy on the bottom if you cook them too high. But this pan you really do need to cook high. When you get experienced, you can do about 4 at one time, and I have about 8 crepe pans, but I can only do 3 or 4. Okay, the first crepe is always a test crepe. I've oiled the pan and I want to see if it's hot enough and if anything sticks. Now you can see. Now I'm going to roll it around like it had a marble in it and pour out the excess. The ideal thing to do is to find a little ladle or a measuring cup that will give you the exact amount of batter that you need in your pan. And that will mean that you won't have to pour any out and you'll have the thickness that you'd like. I like a real thin crepe. Now, I'm going to just cut this off, but frankly, nobody is going to see this when it's folded up and say, oh, she's got a lip on her crepe. I mean, crepes are not an exacting thing. There are these little pushers for crepes. I just don't get it myself. Why bother? When round crepes are important is if you layer each layer with something like Nutella or jam or lemon rind and sugar and a little lemon juice, and you make them into a cake. Then you want to have them all round and very pretty and perfect. And those can be made ahead of time and frequently frozen depending on what the filling is. So here's this. Put your spatula under and flip. There we are. That's a very pretty crepe. And turn it out. See how it releases? If the pan is hot enough and seasoned well, and I oiled this before I started, it will automatically release the crepe. So that's very helpful, and that's why you do a test crepe, to see if it's hot enough and to see if it's sticking anywhere. Now, let's show you how to fill these guys. Here is some Nutella, which is this hazelnut chocolate spread. If you haven't discovered it, I suggest you don't ever buy any, because once you get started, it's a little addictive. And then you just fill it as much as you want to. Don't overfill it because it will gush out on the pan. I roll mine up like a little cigarette and see how the outside pretty part is lightly browned. And then I'll put that on my tray. I'll do this. Here's some raspberry jam. It's simple. Fill it. And then if you wanted to, you could make a triangle. A lot of people make triangles, and that's fine too. You fold this up and these two over, and there you are. When you are putting your crepes in the oven to reheat them, if you're serving them fresh and hot, you can do that and serve them hot just like that without going in the oven. But what I've done is I've made these ahead of time and I reheated them. And so in order to serve them, when they're nice and bubbly, I put them so that the part that's got a little crease is up so that I can flip them. I use 2 spoons to turn them, and there's one of the kind of an odd shaped triangle. And here is, a Nutella crepe. Of course, all crepes are not sweet. You can make them savory. You can put chicken in them, chicken and spinach. You can put beef bourguignon inside of it if you have just a little bit in the house and you want to make it stretch. All sorts of fillings can go inside of crepes. They're pretty non-destructible. You just peel them off when you take them out of the freezer, and they're defrosted in about 2 seconds, ready for you to fill them. So I suggest you take a nice morning watching television and cooking crepes. Get them into the freezer, and you'll have them for whenever you want. They're a delight. I'm Nathalie Dupree, here for PostandCourier.com.